no lives matter. This is a straight war. I'll be real with you. It's war. We're at war. This isn't like they say. There's no friends at war. So I respect the guy, as you said, he's done well, all that good stuff. But we're fighting.
No, as of yet, I'll be honest with you. I don't want to go get my head bashed in. Sparring is sparring, and we can see some sort of technicality being shown. Now, a lot of people are calling it fake. They're saying that it's set.
Jared Anderson, Lawrence Okoli, some of the best the sport's got in the heavyweight division. And he said there's no way these guys are actually going in there and sparring to the full extent. Look, you're a fighter. You've had so many camps throughout your life. Do you think Jake is almost asking them to go easy, or do you think this is proper sparring going on?
The point of sparring is to learn. The point of sparring is not for them to get in there and give Jake a concussion so he can't fight.
Anthony Joshua has repeatedly dismissed claims about Jake Paul's so-called knockout sparring, suggesting the footage is exaggerated and misleading. He explains that authentic sparring is balanced and demanding, and says the reality inside the ring will expose what's real. While criticizing the staged impression of those clips, Joshua still maintains respect for Paul, recognizing him as a legitimate opponent who deserves to be taken seriously.
Him as a boxer?
Yeah, definitely. He's always wanted to be a boxer. He's got a stand-up game. I respect him as a boxer.
Anthony Joshua has slammed Jake Paul's knockout sparring clips, calling them overhyped. He says real sparring is tough and fair, and only the ring will show the truth. Despite pointing out the staged nature, Joshua still respects Paul as a serious opponent.
The sparring videos, that I agree with that. If we're going to see that clip of you knocking this guy down, we want to see at least a full round. We want to see what you're actually doing. If you're going to show us knocking this guy down, show us more. Is his opponent any good? Okay, that's another very good question. His opponent may just be, and we couldn't really see much of him there. He didn't really throw a shot. His opponent might be a nobody. His opponent might be a guy who started box fit a few weeks ago. So that's a very good point. It's things like this we have to actually ask when we, boxers essentially putting up videos of them knocking people out. Who is this guy? You need to know that, because then that kind of qualifies that knockout or knockdown to be good or bad.
Andrew Tate has weighed in on Jake Paul's sparring, claiming the heavyweights aren't giving their full effort. He says sparring should push a fighter to improve, but in these sessions, the opponents are holding back mostly because they are being paid by Paul. As a result, punches lack real intensity and defensive pressure is minimal, making the practice less realistic. Tate adds that while Paul can rehearse techniques, these workouts don't mimic the challenge of facing a truly competitive opponent.
I think that's everything wrong with the sport.
I think as a boxing purist, it's quite upsetting to watch, young fighters struggle to pay the bills and struggle in little shithole gyms around the country trying to get big money fights and going through the Olympics and going through the amateurs and not being able to pay their bills. And I understand how frustrating that can be. So I think that's where the frustration comes from. I don't think it's everything that's wrong with boxing. I think that anything that gets people to tune in to a boxing match is good for the sport.
One more comment that he said was, Jake's been sparring Frank Sanchez, Jared Anderson, Lawrence Okoli, some of the best the sport's got in the heavyweight division. And he said there's no way these guys are actually going in there and sparring to the full extent. Look, you're a fighter. You've had so many camps throughout your life. Do you think Jake is almost asking them to go easy, or do you think this is proper sparring going on?
The point of sparring is to learn. The point of sparring is not for them to get in there and give Jake a concussion so he can't fight. So are they trying to knock Jake out? No. But are they giving him enough work for him to learn?
Gareth A. Davies didn't hold back in warning Jake Paul, suggesting he could get caught off guard, like a thief in the night. Referring to the brutal knockout of Francis Ngannou, Davies highlighted that this fight is far more dangerous than many realize. Facing a veteran heavyweight like Anthony Joshua will expose Paul to challenges he hasn't encountered before. Davies insists the reality will hit the moment the bell rings, proving this bout is a true test, not just a spectacle or publicity stunt.
Yeah, go on, I watched him knock out Francis Ngannou inside 2 rounds.
Yeah.
How can that go 3 rounds with Jake Paul?
It's very hard to knock out somebody that just hasn't come to fight and somebody that's just trying to survive. And that's what I think will happen to Jake Paul.
Do you think he'll run?
I think he'll run like a thief in the night. Once he sees the size of Joshua, those little 10-ounce gloves that they're going to be wearing, he's going to be petrified and his backside will fall out.
I went to the press conference in Miami for that a couple of weeks ago, and he was planning to motorboat AJ, and he thought differently of it when he was standing with him.
Good luck with that, mate.
No, AJ was, he'd have got motorboated out of there.
Listen, mate, listen. Good luck with that, because if he starts out with AJ, puts his chin out and starts trying to goad him in, I think Anthony Joshua will definitely iron him out early.
Do you think he finishes his boxing career then?
Let's hope so.
If Jake Paul does something weird and wins, is that impossible?
Nothing's impossible. Nothing is impossible. Highly unlikely, but not impossible.
If you'd been invited to fight Jake Paul for 25, I've heard it's 25 million, That's me behind the scenes. Other people have told me it's 60. Other people have told me it's more for Anthony Joshua. If you had been a current world champion and you'd been offered that fight with Jake Paul, would you have taken it?
100%.
So he had to take it.
He had to take it.
So you've got nothing against him taking it?
I've got nothing against him taking it, spending the money even. Still got nothing against that. My concern is for the health and safety of Jake Paul and the sport of boxing.
Because boxing will be pulled into the dock if something happens to Jake. It would never have been licensed.
Jake Paul has openly discussed how intense his recent training has been, revealing that sparring with elite heavyweights has left him physically battered, even causing a nose injury. While promotional clips highlight his knockouts, the full story is more nuanced. Analysts watching the sessions noted some sparring partners exaggerated their reactions, often moving toward the ropes after light punches. This suggests the highlights may overstate Paul's real in-ring impact. Observers warn that, impressive as the clips look, they don't guarantee readiness against a seasoned powerhouse like Anthony Joshua.
Noses move a couple millimeters to this camp. I'm not gonna lie, this sparring, the heavyweights, my nose has slight little something in there. A guy by the name of Frank Sanchez, he definitely cracked it a little bit. But yeah, man, it's bad. Wait, hold on. Look at that, dude. It's like Squidward, dog. But don't respect me for getting in there. Respect me when I beat his ass. I'm not just walking into a fight. I'm going to win. That's what's gonna shock the world. I will become the king of boxing.
Analysts examining Jake Paul's knockout sparring sessions have questioned their authenticity. They noticed opponents often overreacted, moving toward the ropes or corner after light punches. These exaggerated reactions make Paul appear more dominant than he might actually be against a top-tier fighter. By leaving themselves out of position, the sparring partners create highlight-worthy moments that inflate Paul's power. Experts warn that while the clips look impressive, they don't necessarily prove he's ready for a seasoned heavyweight with real skill and experience.
Shot did it or something like that. Like, even if you, especially if you see a replay, sometimes it happens so fast. Like, if it's a replay, usually like, oh, there's the one, or like you get a reaction when someone gets hit. You're not like, oh, I wonder if. Like, if you're questioning it, then typically the fighter gave in or decided to kneel down or push himself out of the ring or wanted to get out of the fight. You can tell right away. Like, when I land a body shot on somebody or when I got hit by a body shot, you could tell. I don't know, you guys can make your own assessment, but to me, this is a little sketchy. To me, the person he was boxing, obviously...
BJ Flores, who has trained Paul before, shared insight into his mindset. He says Paul isn't just trying to entertain, he wants to prove he can go toe-to-toe with real professional boxers. Unlike past opponents, who were mostly celebrities or athletes from other sports, Paul is now deliberately sparring with heavier, more skilled fighters. Flores highlights that this demonstrates ambition and courage, showing that Paul is serious about moving beyond novelty bouts and proving himself in legitimate competition.
Very, very tough fight. And, to anybody in the industry, Anthony Joshua is a world champion, a gold medalist. This is a big difference from, anybody else that, Jake's fought in the past. But, he's looking for these big challenges. He wants to fight the toughest guys. And I think with Anthony Joshua, he got exactly that. I mean, Anthony Joshua is a guy I would have never dreamed in a million years Jake would have fought him in his fifth year boxing, in a fight situation like this. I thought he would have given it a little more time, but I mean, this is an extremely difficult fight. Anthony Joshua is 6'6", 245 pounds, extremely dangerous, gold medalist, world champion, and I think this is a very, very difficult fight for Jake. So I wouldn't have made this fight. No.
What do you give it in terms of percentage wise? Like 60% AJ wins, 40% Jake Paul wins, or 50-50, 70-30? How do you give it?
Well, I mean, you got to go up when you go off the resumes. That's what I go off of. A lot of people will say potential, like, oh, this could happen, this could happen. I only go off like who's beaten who. So if you look at it on paper, it doesn't look like Jake has any chance on paper, but I think that's probably why he wanted to make this fight. And like I said, I'm not in the camp, so I don't know all the conversations that are going on in camp Jake Paul right now. But on paper, this looks like an extremely difficult fight. And any boxing experts, that I've talked to, whether it's former fighters or whoever, just they don't give Jake any chance at all. I'm not saying he doesn't have any chance. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that everybody in the know-how as far as the boxing world, they're like, Jake has zero chance to win this fight. And it is on paper though. It does seem like it's early, and it does seem like it's premature in my opinion.
So what are you giving it then? A 90-10?
Like AJ's had, I don't know, probably I want to say 13